Hello, people. Hello. Good evening. I was thinking about playing just today a little bit of W.O.W. I sometimes play this game with friends. I also sometimes play it alone with friends. I right now actually try to get some mounts here. Since the Alliance actually now owns this place by me. I'm listening to some classical music compilations from different times of the periods of the history. Oh, I see. I see already. I was thinking I was already long enough ago that I did do this. Maybe I have to move out of this room and then go back. That's log out. Maybe I'll come with the other one. But yes, I was also going to talk about philosophy today a little bit. I want to talk about basic principles of morality. For example, one of the basic principles of morality, if you ask me, is that you should not inflict pain when you are not have to inflict that pain. So in case, for example, if you can avoid certain amount of suffering, I think you should choose this certain amount of suffering. Simple, because specifically when there is a victim involved, is always if you are causing suffering. Apparently cannot do that function right now. Alright, then I'm going to my other character. So in case of animal rights, for example, eating animals is not necessary. You can believe me on that. I'm a living proof of that. I have not eaten animals for the majority of my life on this earth. So if you can be vegan, I am probably dead. You're talking to ghosts. We are not, and I don't. And I'm not a ghost, and you're not talking to a ghost. So don't go ridiculous, please, people. And with the argument when people say that there's no, there are a lot of animal species, specifically more often that we consider carnivore, that eat their own offspring for many different reasons, survival reasons. Some of my theories are that some animals do cannibalism to control their population, so they don't have shortens of prey, and that's, I think, one of the reasons carnivores eat their young sometimes. Some animals also do it so the other members have more chance of surviving. You can also see that with people actually. For example, in a time of famine in history. Um, for example, in famine in the Cold War in Russia and in China, many people, because of pure desperation, actually started to eat their own offspring. But is that morally in this case? And if you don't believe me, check out how actually in countries like the Ukraine and other places that were in the Soviet Union were actually forced actually out of their food. Their food was stolen by the government and fed to the military people of Russia and to the big cities and their corporations to force Russia in a more um, industrialized, capitalist-like country. But this has as a result, just like in China, that many of those farmers were actually all their food was stolen from them by the government and not equally this actually equally shared, but actually just shared just to what the government did actually consider to be the most vulnerable to them. They did not choose the workers; they did choose the, in my opinion, less uh, important businesses. How don't other the pillars of society, and the farmers did die, and actually started to eat anything to survive. And today, the back club of that is actually that's some parts of the world people will eat literally anything because of the famine. There's also some saying that they have in China that people from the more like places in China eat literally anything because they are eating literally anything. They are even eating each other because they did have not any foods to eat themselves, so they did to do anything to survive. And I think that is hard to imagine for a lot of people, specifically people who have never go a day without food. But it's not an excuse why they should not have the right to do that right now. Two wrongs don't make a right. That the West is hypocritical, that have things like Pigfest in Australia, and also similar kind of things in other places in the world. I think you can, if you are honest, also put in the comments a lot of other hypocritical and cruel stuff that are doing in your country. But that, for example, that there eats a certain kind of animals uh, in the West does not make the criticizing of people eating other animals in the East. The arguments are still valid. The criticism of the cruelty is still valid. Even the actually the person is a hypocrite because he still does some of the same kind of stuff. Please, people, stay consistent. I am curious how much people say that somebody who's not who's a ex-gang member and violent gang member, if he stand up for children rights, are you also going to criticize him because he did not always come from background? Or are you to say, good, he did make a mistake, but he have now turned his life around and now actually do something great with his life? I talk about people like Joey Armstrong and also Hank Herbivore, the guy. I think both actually did not come out that good clowns. Both did talk about actually their reaction. I think if you are did come out of shit, if you have totally come out of nothing, and you actually turn your life around and actually show that what you have done does not mean that you have to be that forever. That you are stupid does not mean that you have to be stupid always. Anybody does sometimes stupid stuff. And yes, in my view, if you're doing something, you are being that on that moment. But that you are being that on that moment does not mean that you not can change. So take your responsibility, act like an adult, and don't use that appeal to emotions from like, oh, that person did say something mean to me, so now I'm going to be a jerk to the victims he speaks about for. So feminists didn't been not nice to me, and now I can be rude to women. That's the same logic that some people say from, oh, a vegan was not nice to me and he did offend me. And now I can actually use that as a justifiable reason why I should still pay for animal abuse. Do you understand where I come from? I hope. Otherwise, I will be try to clarify this in another video. If you are serious and not a troll. I am quite different than most people. First, I don't play political games. I am not. I'm not so concerned with absolutes. I don't believe in absolutes. And I think that people should not play political games with activists. I say sometimes to bits to shock, to invoke. That's how I am. But I'm also honest. If you clearly ask me on the man, actually, if I think that all forms of animal agriculture are bad? I say you, yes, but some are maybe worse than others, but is it better to be cooked, burnt alive, or being drowned alive or gassed? Just place yourself in the animal's position. Imagine that on the day you were born, somebody else did already plan the day of your execution. Listen good. I'm not trying to be offensive, rude, or whatever. I just try to put you in the animal's position so you can actually, I hope, imagine how it feels to be on the position of the animals. How it feels to be actually labeled as an object. It is quite easy, truly, to actually being apathetic, say that anything is radical, what a person says, that he's an extremist, that he is wrong, that's quite easy to do. And I think it is also quite sad, specifically for the victims, that people refuse to watch situations from the victim's point of view. I think it is also one of the problems of our societies, that people watch not things from the victim's point of view. I think you first and foremost always choose the position of the oppressed group. In the case of child pornography, it is the child. It is not the maybe poor person how did sold his child in child pornography because of economical reasons, because of economical oppression. Maybe I have studies about that. So also, if you want to see that, I will actually search if I can find them right now on Facebook. I did use them in my last video. Not in my last live stream, where I was streaming on multiple platforms, I mean. And by the way, I'm entitled to my own opinions. Article 19 of the Human Rights Law gives you the right to have a free speech, even if it might offend some. But if it is true, then it does not matter if it offends maybe some. The true is true. And the true needs to be exposed. Um, uh, just to watch my video that I did do on actually my opinions about the mm, corona. Yeah, I did talk about that. My video about coronavirus and lockdown and outbreaks in slaughterhouse workers of coronavirus. Um, what I think about that. I also did show that a lot of people actually did actually come in gangs. Also did come out of problem places. There are few also often outcast of society that choose to go in gangs because they feel themselves more fine in the gangs. But you can see that if you want to know more about that, you can also our lockup study is actually about social psychology or criminal psychology. What criminal even means. I think if you see a lot of the stuff I see, you sometimes also not know anymore what to think of what's legal and illegal. Because some things that are legal in some countries, some places, are totally not justifiable. And anybody who looks on a single minute the suffering of the victims in that scenario can see that's an obvious fact. I think people need to learn empathy. I think people need to learn to see things from two victims instead of the people who claim to be victims. You are not a victim if you can change your own fate. If you are poor and you don't like your job, try to be more open-minded. Actually find alternative works. If you are not want to work a job for many hours, I've seen videos actually people making more than 300, no, more than 150 dollars a month. Actually, with $350 a day. And how did I do that? No, collecting trash and recycling it. So I think there are many other opportunities to get some money in a more fair and more humane way than working in slaughterhouses. So if people want to have respect, if you ask me, they should first extend some decency and compassion to creatures who have never harmed them without reason, and how they're abused without reason or mercy. Animals don't want to be the victims of people. The people who consider themselves to be morally superior, but on the same, yeah, people claim that they are morally superior to other animals, and therefore they have the right to exploit them, torment them, and turn them into property. Think about that, people. We think that we are moral superior to another living being, and therefore we have the right to exploit and torment and actually prove that we are not moral superior than another living being. We are contradicting ourselves by saying that we are moral superior to other animals and therefore have the right to exploit them for their body parts and secretions. That is inconsistent. If we were moral superior to other living beings, we should actually are treating them with fairness, decency, and compassion, like we want to be treated ourselves. And that includes shocking for all the people who are secretly masochists. But the animals are 99% with 99% surety are not all massacres like you who want to be tortured. So live by the golden rule is not good for you. Because if you live by the golden rule and don't do to others what you want turn to do to you, that does mean that people can actually torture, that you can torture anybody because you want to be tortured. So in that case, live by the platinum rule and do to others like they want that they are treated. So then you can use basic logic and actually common sense and actually know that one of the ways of surviving actually for an organism is to actually to have a central nervous system what actually includes having nerves, having a brain, can expecting pain and can run away if they are attacked, because without that you don't can survive. An organism that does not run for their life when there are prey animals have no chance of surviving. A, a chicken, if they did not have a central nervous system, cannot feel pain and they will not actually try to run away. Chickens, a lot of the time actually, if they have still the power to run, actually try to run away from the people that actually force them into the gas chambers. Yeah, so it sounds like I did talk a little bit about Jews and other people who are how massacred by certain governments around the world when I talk about gas chambers. But here's another fact, people. Our species is not the only species that can be victims of genociding. A way of translating the word genocide is genocides, meaning creation. Genociding means mass extermination of life. That's actually the clearest, truest definition of the word genocide. So, if killing around let us say just 6 million Jews is a genocide, then killing any year 72 trillion, 72 billion land animals and 1.7 trillion marine animals is absolute genocide. And don't go with, oh, they are not human animals. You know who also did like to play the game? People like Hammond. He did claim that it was evidence enough to actually claim that blacks were a kind of subman. Check out his letters on slavery. If you don't believe me, I don't lie. I'm not a politician, and I'm also not here to win a popularity competition. I've never been popular. Why? Because I don't like to tell people good things about their bad habits. And I'm not a people pleaser. You have the wrong kind of person for you here, or want me to be a people pleaser. I've been abused too much by people actually by governmental systems to blindly follow authorities. Yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah. About equality. About justice. About that blacks were not considered for humans. They were just one, two-fifths of a person, and a person was in that time actually the lowest class of the free men. You did have different classes also in the free man. You did have the person, who was basically just the basic class of free men. And you did have the lord. You did have the gentleman, and that were titles for higher classes of men, of the free men, according to the hierarchical system of that time. There was a lot of amounts of discrimination in US history. Let's remember that when the Declaration was first enacted, only white European, white European slave-owning, heterosexual Christian men were considered to have a full personhood. Blacks, women, homosexuals, and all animals were conventionally excluded from this so-called free of the land of the free now. So you can also do your history about a little bit about the Whigs and the Tories in the United States, and that in fact actually the Republican Party of Lincoln was actually the Republican Democrat Party and not the Republican Party. Actually, just after Lincoln, actually, the parties did actually turn into the Republican Democrat Party. I think Republicans and Democrats are both quite hypocritical. I can honestly not agree with them 100%. I think I maybe agree a little bit more with the liberals in the United States, but quite weirdly are considered there to be the left. When if I think about the liberals before I did actually look into the history of the United States a bit, I was thinking about right wing. People only care about their own freedom and their own that's what and yeah their own liberties. That's what liberal was one my understanding. Also in Aussie, liberals also means most of the time right wing. Liberals are hunters there all the time. What I did hear from a friend of me that lives there. I don't know if I can call the person a friend. Too much legal. The person has changed a lot. I don't know if I am correct. I don't know if I can say in a good way or in a bad way. Only time will learn. I'm also, of course, talking about that being a lawyer. If you have still some videos actually that you can share, send me actually of good videos that she have put on private or have deleted or something like that. I like to have them. For example, the one that she actually did, or she did explain why NYC is a terrorist organization, or the war crimes of the NYC. I think that were actually the kind of videos I did like that she made back. I'm not so interested. I'm not so interested in all the Michael Jackson stuff. Yes, I can understand why people maybe are interested in that, but I personally did not care if he was innocent or not. That's of course interesting to know a bit about this story, but I always were thinking that Michael Jackson was not a pedophile. I was always thinking it's just a uh, big man, just a big man boy. Oh, that was a bit strange, but not a pedophile. And the allegations, I find it all. Did find them always a bit strange. The way they did go, actually. Um, Sad to see that actually people, when they start to become older, or become more bad persons, become more greedy, and actually some of them actually first defended him and later actually come back on his word and actually try to actually do the same thing to Michael as this person to where he actually in the first place actually did divorce his parents for. people are disappointing. But yet, anyway, I just want to say that I was more interested in the stuff where she did go into actually animal rights stuff than in the more mainstream like stuff. So, terrorism, violence, intimidation, harassment, kidnapping, enslavement. If you want to talk with me about certain stuff, one rule: don't go into the anthropocentric human supremacist scene. I don't consider people as the most important thing on the planet. In my view, and in the view of the animals and the earth, we are just an actually like an ant on the back of a dog, or tick on the back of a dog. We are not doing nothing for the ecosystem in a positive way. That we are now actually have less pollution because of the crimes that actually in the air of the smoke. That is, you cannot, in my the way I see that, and I think if you think about it maybe a bit, you can see that too. That is not stewardship. That's damage control and cleaning trash up from other people is also not um, environmentalism. It's not. I mean, this is, yeah, this is you can call it environmentalism, but you don't can call it stewardship. The true stewards of the earth are actually tiny animals like insects, ants, bugs, and other little creatures. I'll clean up the trash on the planet, recycle it, break it down, make actually in the case of some kind of beetles that live in the shit bird beetles. Dirt beetles, how you want to call them, little scarabs, also known name for them. They'll lay their youngs in the shit of the animals, certain animals, and that's actually how they clean up the. Actually, that's how they recycle it a bit. The animals eat then the shit again up from other animals, and that sounds all gross. It's around 70% of the meat, 70 to 80% of the animal meat in the supermarket, according to a report from 2016. I've put that in one of my videos, so you can search for that. And if you're already here, please watch also all my other videos. I've run already a large amount of work. If you want to share my videos, share the information I have in my videos, it's all free. You don't have to pay for it. You only have to actually share a link in the video to my channel and the original video. It's the only thing I ask. Yeah, have superbugs. Superbugs are actually bugs that are starting to be actually resistant to the kinds of antibiotics that we have. Because we give so much amount of antibiotics to the animals people enslave for food. So those animals then the bacteria in the animals, the viruses, gets if you can look a bit this a bit from a logical perspective, you can see the bacteria wants to evolve to actually be not actually being badly affected by it. And if you are actually giving those breed extremely large amount of animals, the viruses get more chance to evolve. And if you then give them, because of their 99% of the time extreme overcrowded places, the bacteria have the chance to go transport to the other animal, to the other chicken in the chicken camp where I put around around 20,000 chickens in one warehouse, and then of course that creates problems. You don't have to be Einstein to come to that conclusion. You don't have to be a genius. You only need to think a little bit, I think. Think you cannot come on can get that if you are to use your brain a bit. That thing where your people are so proud of. Also, and I'm also now Breitarians, but and Breitarian is somebody who claims to live on air and water, and claims to not have to eat. So basically he believes he's a plant. Are sunlight and water. Sorry, people, but that's not the case. And that's the only way that you can actually justify the arguments from, but plants suffer. So, are you going to say that, oh, plants suffer, so why should I actually care about human rights? Because you're an hypocrite, because crop debts. You cannot be perfect, so let me not try. As an appeal to futility, appeal to nothingness, an appeal to worthlessness, appeal to apathy. You can also call it. It remembers me of a quote of William Lord Garrison, one of the most known, one of quite extremely important uh, black rights activists. Also white. He did say once that the apathy of the people is enough to hasten the resurrection of the dead. Think about that. Let quote sink in to you. You don't have to actually say me now actually what you think about it. Don't give me an reactionary actually argument. Check out actually how the slave trade actually did work, and actually some of the arguments bring up by slave masters. Before you actually give a reaction on that. And I think that's quite true. Specifically if you are in a certain position and you try to watch things from the victim's point of view in a certain time period, but the majority of the people seems not to want to, or seems not to, is willing to watch the situation from the victim's point of view because of confidence that there are maybe being seen weird because of social pressure, fear. What kind of reason psychologists want to actually give it this kind of name? remember always, when you watch my channel, I am, and so I say stuff. Sometimes people don't like it, I say, but that I say something you don't like, that's also not give you the right to falsely actually report me, because I'm with my full right to express my opinions. I'm not gonna to walk around with knives and slashing people's throat open. Even I think some people deserve that, for specifically when they try to justify an industry that does not only cause extremely large amounts of animal death, but is also responsible for the mass extermination of many of their own species, indirectly because of supply and demand. So I personally don't care about actually what people think about themselves. There are very little people who are willing to admit that they are an evil person. And they are lying because of that to themselves, convince themselves that they are doing something good. I mean, there are little to no bureaucratic fascist dictators are believing that they are wrong people. If you read Mind Camp, there's no single moment that Hitler was thinking, oh, I'm a bad person. He always tried to justify it, even his justifications were falsely and were not based on justice, on justifiable motives. He did can actually justify that in his mentally morphed mind, his twisted with his corrupted form of what he considered logic. But do I agree with that it was logic? No. Because I don't consider something logical just because people say that something is logical. Let I explain it in this way. If you ask me, if you say that something is shit, that is not shit. It does not turn in shit magically because of that people believe it. Just like if something is shit, if I'm going to say it is gold to you and repeat it over and over, it will not become gold. I don't think I'm going to sell you that stuff then for the price of gold. Think you will then say that I've totally lose my mind if I go to say to you, I have your shit, and this shit is not shit. This shit is actually gold, and you should actually uh, pay me a lot of gold and money actually for this shit, because this shit is totally the shit. Alright. I hope you can. I hope you understand what I mean. Just was a bit crazy maybe in your eyes. I don't know. So be sometimes a little bit careful, people. I think one thing people should learn in this time and age is learn to think for themselves instead of going what anybody else have to say. I think people need to grow up and stop being a political pawn, basically. If you're going to believe anything what somebody says because an authority says it, you sometimes will see that you're going left when you want to go right, when you go right when you want to go left. It also means that you sometimes have to swallow your pride. And you cannot be always right. And just like which you cannot be always right, a government can also not be always right. So there's also being capable of swallowing their own pride. And sometimes they maybe should take their own medicine. Maybe harsh for you, the government. You can click away from this video if you don't want to watch me talking about stuff. This is my channel. I have the right to talk about stuff I want to talk about. Just like you, if you want to talk about stuff, make your own channel. Talk about stuff you want to talk about. And please, can we act like adults? And listen to the generous arguments. I know I'm probably not that appealing to a lot of people. I'm also not a politician. I'm not left wing. I'm not right wing. I choose to have my own opinions instead of choosing one kind of political highway. I have also to say you don't have to be agreeing with anything I say. Like I often say, it is impossible to agree with anybody 100% of the time. As long as we have just the same goal in the end. I think that's the most important thing. And I think also we need to, no matter the age, actually let each other talk, talk out, speak our minds, instead of always those political games. There are many people that are far better with manipulating those areas of being political. That does not mean that I have not the right to speak my mind. I speak for the animals. I speak what I think the animals will have say to the people that they cannot say because we don't speak their language. If you understand what I mean. If the animals that can speak to people, I bet that they say to the people, why do you do, to the people that exploit them, I bet they will say to those people from something like this, why do you do this to me? What have I done to you to deserve this? What have I done to be turned into a commodity? What have I done to you to deserve this eternal damnation? Being stolen from my mother, being put in a concentration camp-like condition, and being on the day that I've been born, somebody already did plan the day of my execution and decided that I was an object, even I am not an object. I truly sometimes think the same as William Lord Ganton when it comes to things where I'm standing for. Sometimes I truly think the apathy of the people is enough to hasten the resurrection of the death. And I think if you hear the arguments of yourself when you try to defend animal abuse, or if you listen to your friends or family members trying to actually excuse the exploitation of animals based on that it is still sadly illegal under our current I say ironically called justice system. How can a system call himself a justice system is the question that exploits and justifies the extermination of many for the benefit of the few. There are 12 times as much animals killed any year than there live people on the planet. 7.8 trillion people and around 72 billion land animals. So even if you say that the life of an animal is worth just 1/12 of a member of your own species, if you want to go so deep into in this your ego that you say that it's just once that it's just 1/12 of our species, then you go into in what I consider and the animal consider to be very bigotry opinions against them and watching them in a very bad light. Even if you are going to do that, animal agriculture is still doing far more damage than the most bad dictators in history. Far more than Hitler. Yeah, I don't try to downplay what he was doing, but I, on the same moment, try to also defend the rights of animals. How are the most oppressed, disenfranchised groups of living beings on the planet? They are so disenfranchised that law, that's, I know, not no any law on the law system on the world that consider them as victims. That's how disenfranchised animals like pigs, chickens, and turkeys and cows are. They are so disenfranchised that people that speak up for them are praising governments actually for banning fur. When people in the first place not even deserved to exploit those foxes and minks and other animals for their fur. Their fur belongs to the animals. 'Tis not yours to steal. Imagine that I want to make a wig of your hair, and I go to your home and actually take your children, and actually put them in a child hair grow factory, and then scalp their heads, and actually steal their hair, and make fur coats out of it. I scalp it because I want to have a little bit of the skin still on the fur. I guess that's so then I get some nice little fur, people fur. I don't do it myself, but imagine that somebody did do that to you. Do you not want that it stops in a minute? I think if governments were sane, they are actually sane and rational and kind and compassionate. I think they should already have banned animal agriculture as well, and actually give animals their legal status, specifically herbivore animals. How harm nobody. How are the impediment of victims of terror? Terror, like the FBI actually says, is any form of enslavement, violent intimidation. Sorry, but a lot of farmers are violently intimidating vegan activists. Look on the channels of Joey Carbstrong. Yeah, he can show you the footage of actually him when he was doing direct action actually, and how farmers actually were rude and arrogant to activists, and also were trying to intimidate activists. And look how those nice slaughterhouse workers and farmers actually often talk to vegan activists. Check out the video of Grumpy Vegan Grandpa in his YouTube channel, and how he was actually treated so nice by factory farm workers. I mean, not it come with a large group to him, try to intimidate him, try to actually scare him away. Even he was in his full right to actually film where he was filming. Because you can, even with the anchor law problematic so-called laws, you can film outside of the fences of facilities. You can freely record stuff outside of the fences. At least in Great Britain. My goal in life is to try to let people feel and actually to point out people's flaws and actually try to let people be more humble. And yeah, it is a fallacy to actually say that if somebody is not perfect and he's not a saint, that you cannot judge somebody. You can judge people. People, especially when they do something wrong. People always judge people they are not liking. People judge pedophiles. People judge child molesters. People judge Hitler. People judge Nazis. People judge a lot of people there. Think they are doing evil stuff. So why can you not this? Why I say this in this way? Most people in the world they despise pedophiles. Now, why protecting the innocents in children and then on the same moment try to defend the same innocence in animals? Again, most animals in animal agriculture industry are basically killed when they're still children. Chickens are killed on the age of 1.5. They can live until the age of 10. Cows can live up to the age of 50, 25, I mean, 20 to 25. Pigs 15, and so more than 90% of the animals people commodify in the world are chickens. So we can stop animal agriculture 100% in a very short percent of time. But only if people are stop breeding the animals into existence. It is quite frankly quite easy. I just don't breeding them into existence. So, guys and gals, if you want that I make some videos about some topic, maybe you have a certain kind of topic I have not yet talked about. I find this quite annoying. Yeah, I need to actually. This is annoying. The spellcaster, you always take down this. Already, I watched several videos, some about philosophy, about other kind of topics. Well, how can I leave this thing? Mind of madness. Um, how to go to finish this thing. I don't see anything here that I can attack. Cannot attack this thing. Constantly attacked by something. Creates fear. What do I need to do here? And how it's here? What do I need to do here? Search. Now glow. I'm stuck. And how do I get out of this thing then? So, how do I get out of this? There's an item here. finally, do you allow me to go outside of this thing? Monstrosity, you are dead. I think we should just try to. I don't know actually where he is. Where is he? Not here. Not here. I cannot find him on the map. Sorry, I'm a bit of pollen allergy. So, I say also sorry, because some of you maybe want to see me die coronavirus. Alright, then I consider this done. Oh, and now go to it. And finally, I hope get mine. Get some house. No, the orcs are again have control over the space. Maybe my demon hunter is still inside. Yeah, my demon hunter is still inside, so I can still go inside here. Absolutely fine. The demon hunter goes. but just starting to put my demon inside, always inside. Here, as long if I don't have that thing. Oh, why the why the oh yeah, probably I did do this later on. I did film not this later. So that means I need to wait a little bit more time before I can do this, but I'm going to stay here, safe, and then the point where I can actually take some. This one is probably too far away. Yeah. I hope you did enjoy the stream. I hope you did find my stream interesting in a certain way. If you are not, just search for something else to entertain yourself. I'm not here to entertain you, I am here to advise you about things you maybe not want to think about it because it may not or may do not fit into your agenda. Go vegan. When darkness and light become one, the reality splintered away.